Remotely turning on or rebooting a frozen computer. I use a remote desktop program, usually Microsoft's Remote Desktop, to connect to a Windows machine every day. The remote computer has a fixed IP address, and if the computer is on and responsive, I can access it and even reboot the computer remotely if necessary. Unfortunately, if the remote computer freezes, for example, if it gets a blue screen, as far as I know, I can't use a remote desktop solution to restart it. Similarly, if my computer is off, I can't use remote desktop to boot it. I know that one solution is to ask somebody who is physically near the computer to press the reboot or power on button, but I am opening this thread because I am interested in solutions that do not require the physical presence of people to turn on or reboot a remote frozen computer. Is this possible? If so, what are my options?
Server-grade computers by most major manufacturers have provided these types of management capabilities for many years. Watchdog timers in the BIOS, COM-based Telnet console redirect, IP-based COM, remote KVM, etc. For a desktop-grade computer you have a few options. 1. Replace your system with one that has these types of management features, out-of-band management. Intel offers their AMT, Advanced Management Technologies, on the desktop as well, which when adhering to the certain requirement is branded as vPro. Basically a vPro-compatible board and CPU. AMD has Dash, with similar requirements I'm sure. I've never used it, and haven't seen any third-party support for it. I prefer Intel's AMT personally. All versions, that are vPro, allow shutdown, power on, reset, hard, as well as a textual BIOS and boot view. The newest versions include a VNC-based KVM that allows you interact with the boot process as well as the OS, so it can be used to diagnose boot problems, BIOS, post, blue screens, etc., as well as end-user and OS support. 2. Get a remote-controlled power strip. I looked into this, and it was too expensive for small-time use. Perhaps the price has come down though. It was feature-rich, but I've never actually used it. It is aimed mainly for auto-rebooting a router/modem combo. We use them mainly for that, but it shouldn't have a problem dealing with a desktop computer as a load. You can hit it by HTTP and reset the sockets manually, individually, as well as have it auto-reset due to lack of internet connectivity, schedules and such. 3. Build an Intrant-enabled robotic arm. Smile.
There's an option in System.cpl and GT, Advanced tab in GT, Startup and Recovery section, Settings and GT, called Automatically Restart that will automatically restart the machine upon a blue screen. Machines that depend on remote access for configuration/support need to have this enabled. You can then check even for .msc or use a utility like Microsoft's Blue Screen View to later determine the stop code and find why it crashed. There are many types of freezes. A hard freeze where even the mouse stops working has a high percentage of defective hardware as the cause and needs to be physically looked at when that occurs. I've had users say their systems are frozen, but the system is just stuck at some point and they can still move the mouse. I've been able to use this internal exec sometimes to get a remote command prompt and issue a shutdown RT-0 command which reboots it. At my place of work, we are a Dell shop. A lot of newer high-end Dell computers, T5400 and T5500 specifically, have a feature called AMT that we don't use for some reason. Supposedly it is a component that lets you remote reboot, even if the system is hung or powered off, and access the BIOS remotely. I don't know if you can get something with similar capability on a PC card. I'm sure other manufacturers have a similar feature in their higher-end workstations, and something like this is likely what you want.
I haven't found a way to reboot a computer that is hung up besides a remote power switch device. I use this one IPP3 and it supports rebooting over the LAN or telephone. It's $200 though. If you need something a little simpler, you could check this one out. It's only $100, but the features of the IPP3 are a lot better.
Another option can be using a virtual machine. It might take some time to move your server to the virtual machine, but it is free anyway. VMware is very nice for this and is free. Once you manage to migrate your server, you can install remote desktop server to virtual machine and a text-based, SSH-like, server to the real machine. I don't really know if VMware has support for console commands, but I bet they have. So, you will use the same desktop software and you will connect directly to the virtual machines. Your using habits wouldn't change, and in case of system failure, you can easily restart, reboot or even reinstall Windows to the machine. It also provides a wall of security, as virtual servers cannot access the data above as long as you don't give permission explicitly. But also, if the Windows machine is used on regular basis on local W/O remote, using a virtual machine can be disturbing. Edit. Another budget option which solves the hardware failures as well. You can buy a second-hand cheap phone which has a vibration motor. Disassemble the phone and remove the vibration motor, throw it away, open your mainboard, connect the reset pins to the remaining vibration pins on the phone by a relay contact. Requires soldering. So when you call the phone, it will try to vibrate and eventually activate the relay, which will hard reset the computer. There are chances that you can break the cell phone completely while trying to disassemble and solder it, but so long as you use relays correctly, it is nearly impossible to do damage to the mainboard.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.